What hosting company is best for WordPress? I'm Emily Journey, and I've been helping people with their WordPress websites since 2012. So I have an answer to this question. I've seen a lot of hosting dashboards, a lot of different, they're just a dime a dozen, the hosting companies that are available out there. So I have an answer to that as well as some other questions about hosting. So first of all, hosting is not the same thing as a domain name registration. So sometimes you'll have your domain name registered one place and your hosting in a different place. That's not a problem. That's how my websites are set up. And it's not required to have your domain name and your hosting in the same place. It's actually more common to have them in separate places. So unrelated, you do not need to transfer your domain name to the same place that your hosting is living. Okay, so your hosting is where your website files are hosted, and that's what allows them to be seen on the internet. There are a lot of other things that happen at hosting, but that's in a nutshell what hosting does. And so who should you go with for your WordPress website for hosting? Because there are a lot to choose from, and they're not all created equal. You can actually end up in a bad situation if you choose the wrong hosting company. So I can tell you who you should not go with, first of all, for your hosting. You should not have the company that developed your website host your website. That's not what they do best. So website developers, agencies, digital marketing agencies, hosting is not what they do best. And if they are hosting your website, it's usually because they're reselling the service at a markup. So, and then as a result, the quality of your access and the customer service will be less than if you were purchasing hosting directly from the provider. The other piece to that is often when a developer is offering to host your website, maybe they're even offering to do it on a complimentary basis, they're also kind of blocking your access to the hosting dashboard or partially blocking your access. And that hosting relationship, they own the hosting account and they are in control of who gets access. So if you ever want to work with a third party, or maybe you want to break off your relationship with your developer, which is actually quite common, you want to be able to take your hosting with you. And that moving your site to your own hosting account that you've paid for and purchased, that can become a little sticky when your developer is hosting your website. So if there's anything you take from this video, remember that. Don't let your developer or your digital marketing agency host your website. Okay, who should you trust with, what are you looking for? How do you decide? There's so many to choose from. And so I'll tell you, in terms of pricing, most companies for hosting it's not a very competitive market out there. The pricing is around the same. So you're not seeing a lot of difference in pricing. So you make your decision based upon the quality of the customer service, because you will need to reach out to your hosting provider. Who knows for what? Could be a website problem, a security problem that's related to your hosting account. So you want to be able to reach your hosting company. And not only that, once you do reach them, either by chat or phone, you want them to be knowledgeable, right? So it is known to happen that some of these hosting companies, the person on the other end is giving you bad advice. They don't really know what they're talking about. And you really want to avoid that, definitely. So you want excellent customer service. You want that customer service to be 24/7. So because website problems happen 24/7, hosting problems. And so you want that to be 24/7. You don't want to have to wait till the next day or after the holiday. And so quality of customer service, not your website developer, not your cousin. So you want to kind of go with a well-known name, a large company. And a couple that I have in mind are, and this is not a sponsored affiliate type of recommendation. These are just companies that we regularly recommend, are SiteGround and WP Engine. So those two companies, SiteGround.com and WPEngine.com. And you want to do the plan you want to select at SiteGround is not the very basic, but the next one up, which is their most popular. Now, why do I recommend these companies? One is their customer service is 90%. It's almost 100%. Most of the time, we have a very positive experience, and it's via chat. So I like to talk on the phone. But if the person on the other end is doing a great job by chat, ideally based in the United States, at least during business hours, then these companies do a pretty good job, and you're not waiting forever to get responses. So that's important, that communication piece. But here are a couple of other things that are really important and are starting to become the standard in hosting services. And if your hosting company doesn't provide these two items at no additional charge, then you should leave them. So one is a free SSL certificate. So SSL certificates, they have when I first was working in my industry 10 years ago, people would say, "Hey, Emily, do I need to have an SSL certificate on my website?" And my answer would be probably not, because you don't have e-commerce, you're not collecting credit card information, don't worry about it. And most people didn't have an SSL certificate. If you got an SSL certificate, then you'd have to pay for it. And it was kind of complicated to install on the website. So not only would you have to pay for the certificate, you would have to pay for the configuration of the certificate on the website, because that would have been my time. So that's no longer the case today. Everyone needs an SSL certificate on their site, and high quality hosting companies provide that at no additional charge. It's also installable with just the click of a button. So there's no configuration process that we have to figure out with the SSL certificate. So we don't end up charging extra to make sure that your site is secure with an SSL certificate. Your hosting company provides it for free if it's a good quality hosting company. So that's item number one. If you're being charged for an SSL certificate, you should question that and reconsider the company that you're hosting your website at. The second item that is super important is automatic daily backups. So done by the hosting company. So it's not just an automatic daily backup, because a hosting company will say, yeah, we back up your site, all of our sites every night, no matter what, we have a backup, right? But the difference between a company that just says that and these companies that I'm recommending are, all right, so if I need the backup, how do I access it? Can I easily, with the click of a button, restore my website to what it was yesterday? Or do I have to call you and pay you more money to get my website restored to what it was yesterday or at midnight last night? So because of whatever disaster. And so if I have to jump through hoops to restore my website, and if restoring my website from a backup is difficult, then I don't want that hosting company. So with SiteGround and with WP Engine, there's a dashboard in the hosting account of the nightly backups, and you can pick a backup, and with a click of a button, your site will be restored to that version of your website. And you can actually restore it back to, you could go back a week, go ahead to what it is today. So that is a huge relief to website owners who are nervous about maybe they have a little bit of a fragile website, or they're afraid they're going to break their website while they're working on it. This really takes care of that concern, because it doesn't matter if you have a backup if you don't know how to use the backup when you need it. So don't stop there with the question of, are there backups? The second half of that question is, how do I use the backup? And is that easy? Can I just log in, go to the panel, and choose the backup that I want to restore to? And that really is one of the best things about backups with modern hosting today.